Hello class, I'm getting ready to go over the quiz that we took on real numbers, real number system. Okay, so that very first one, it says the value of the square root of 73 is between which integers? All right, if you look in your interactive notebook, you got to know these things by heart, but it is in your interactive notebook on this page right here. And we look at our perfect squares. These are our perfect square roots. So we're going to look to see which perfect square is going to be, is this square root of 73 in between. It's not in between here, but it is in between 64 and 81, okay? It's between 64 and 81. The square root of 64 is 8, and the square root of 81 is 9. So our answer is going to be between 8 and 9. Okay? It says, what is, okay, and this right here is 0.45. This is our repeated notation or bar notation, expressed as a fraction in lowest terms. If two numbers are repeating, remember that for every number that repeats, 9 is going to be the denominator. So since it's 45 and two numbers are repeating, the 4 and the 5, it's 45 over 99, okay? Remember another way to do that, and of course you would reduce this fraction by dividing both the top and the bottom by 9. And so then that's going to give you 5. That's going to give you over 11. So that gives you C. Another way that you could do it, remember, in your calculator, is clear your calculator first. Second, plus 712, okay? You can type it into your calculator, 0.45. Since it's repeating, you need to go all the way to the end of your screen with 45. 45, 45, 45, 45. Okay? Math, enter. Okay? And that's how you do it there. All right? Which number has a cube root between, look at this, 7 and 8? So you find the cube root of each of these numbers, okay? So remember that, look, the cube root, well, first of all, the cube root between 7 and 8. The cube root for 7 is going to be 7 times 7 times 7. 7 times 7 times 7. 7 is multiplied times itself 2 other times, a total of 3. So that's going to be 343. And then you have 8 times 8 times 8. And that gives you 512. So which one of these numbers is between? This is not between it. This one's not between. This number's not between it, but this number is. So D here is going to be your answer. Okay? All right, let's look at this one. If, and this is n to the third power, is equal to, and I'll rewrite that here, 380, which is going to be true? A is saying that the answer is between 5 and 6. B is saying that the answer is between 6 and 7. C is saying the answer is between 7 and 8. D is saying the answer is between 8 and 9. Okay? Here, this is a cube. This is cubing a number. The inverse or the opposite of cubing a number is cube root. So in order to know the value of n, or to get n by itself, you're going to do the opposite of cubing a number, which is cube root. So you're going to cube root both sides. The cube root of n to the third is just n. Why? Because n times n times n, n times n times n is equal to n to the third power. They're inverses of each other, okay? All right, so let's look at this. The cube root, and let's type this in, the cube root button, you go to math, and you're going to go down to cube root. This one is cube root right here. Okay, and you're going to type in 380. And that gives us about, I'll put the squiggly lines, that's about 7.24. Okay, so 7.24 or 7 2400ths is not between 5 and 6. It's not between 6 and 7, but it is between 7 and 8. So C is going to be your answer here. Okay. Number 5, it says the value of, and this is the cube root of 3001 is between which two whole numbers? So again, you go to math, go down to cube root, okay, and you type in 300. Typed in too many zeros there now. 1, and you got 14.4. So 14.4, or about 14.4 squiggly lines, is between 14 and 15. Okay. Number 6. The cube root of 7,201 is between which pair of integers? So again, you're going to do cube root, and you're going to do 7,201. Oops, sorry, cube root. Then 7,201. And that gives you 19.31, about. And that is going to be between 19 and 20. Okay? A cube has a volume, okay, so this is a cube, and it has a volume of 800. So V is equal to 800 cubic units. So it's going to be units to the third power. Okay? What is the edge? What is S equal to? Remember, the formula for volume of a cube is V is equal to S to the third power. Well, since I already know what V is equal to, okay, I'm just going to replace V with 800 and solve for S side, the side lengths, okay, the lengths. All right, so we have this 800 is equal to the sides to the third power. S stands for the side lengths, all right? Remember, in a cube, the length, the width, and the height, Lord help me, the height are the same measurement. So you don't need to use length, width, height. You use S because all these sides have the same measurement in a cube, okay? So to get rid of this S, the inverse or opposite of cubing a number is cube root. So you're going to find the cube root on both sides. Sorry, that's a little sloppy, y'all. So again, clean my calculator, go to math, and cube root is here. And we type in 800. Okay, press enter there. And that's going to give me about, okay, I truncate. That means I cut the decimal off without rounding. So here it's going to be between 9 and 10. Okay, 9 and 10, sorry about that. All right. Between which two whole numbers is the square root of 89? Remember, you can type it again, or you use your perfect squares, okay? And you figure out which two whole numbers is the square root 98. The square root of 98 is right here. It's between these two. You see that? Okay, so it's between 9 and 10 because 98 is right in here. Okay? All right, so 9 and 10 is going to be our answer here. Which phrase does not describe a rational number? A rational number, it can be an integer. That's a yes, that's a not, okay? This is not a not, this is a yes. Repeated decimals, okay, can be rational, so this is not the answer. Terminating decimals, decimals that do stop, they are very rational. And non-repeating, non-terminating decimals, those are your irrational numbers. So this one is a not. It is not rational, which makes it irrational. The last one, it says, which list of numbers contain an irrational number? Okay, so we're looking at each of these. A fraction, remember, a rational number is a number that can be written as a fraction. Of course, a fraction itself is going to be rational, okay? 0 is rational. The square root of 9 is equal to 3. All of these numbers are rational, okay? A fraction is rational. A decimal that stops is going to be rational. The square root of 10, if you type in the square root of 10, it gives you a decimal. So you got square root 10. That's rational, okay? That's irrational, okay? So this is going to be our answer. Questions about that? Let's look at this one. I'm so used to saying questions like about that. Like you can answer me. This is a fraction, so this is going to be irrational. This stops. This decimal actually stops, so it's going to be rational. I keep saying, pointing to this, it's supposed to be irrational. This is rational. This is equal to 8, so this is also rational. This is rational because it's a fraction. Even though it's a long decimal, it stops. If you see a decimal that looks like this, 5.218, and has the dots at the end, which indicates that it continues without a pattern. You don't see a repeated sign, but you see these little dots at the end. This is irrational, okay? This number right here is a perfect square root. This is equal to 6. So all of these numbers are rational. All of these numbers are rational. This number is irrational because, again, the answer is a decimal. Okay? All right. Good job.